I kind of thought this is how the season was going to end. I can't see the future, but I had a feeling this is how it was going to end.
I can see the future!
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Will, and welcome back to our last spoiler review for the Legend of Vox Machina Season 2. This is episode 12, entitled The Hope Devourer. This is a spoiler review, as every episode that I've reviewed this season have been. So, if you haven't watched the season yet, and you haven't checked out the finale, make sure you pause this video, go check it out, and come back and hear my thoughts on it. It's been an amped up second season. It's kind of exceeded a lot of the expectations for me when it came to season 1 and what we can expect from, ending that season with the emergence of the Chroma Conclave. It has just been a non-stop crazy ride, and I'm sad to see it's over, but looking forward to season 3 whenever that drops. So make sure you do check out those episodes. They are on Amazon Prime right now. I'll come back and hear my thoughts. If this happens to be your first time and you're new here and you're starting with my review of the finale, that's a weird spot to start, but I welcome you nonetheless. My name is Will, and I do geeky stuff on the internet. I do reviews and reactions and a ton of other things on this channel. And if you're interested in seeing that sort of thing and hearing humble geeky bear's perspective, subscribe to the channel. It would really help me out, and I really appreciate it. And I appreciate all the new subscribers that we've gotten over the course of these past few weeks. So thank you for joining in, and I hope you enjoyed the ride as much as I did. So episode 12, entitled The Hope Devourer, picks up with future sequence with Scanlan apparently talking to his grandkid, and these are Kaylee's kids apparently, and he just seems to be happy, and we get a couple little things in the background that I did miss, except for one thing that looked like a scene from Vox Machina when they went to Uriel's palace, but it also kind of seems a little bit more like a future-ish sort of picture, where we see like Vax has a mustache and stuff like that. But it turns out this is just Scanlan after he got knocked slightly unconscious after Umbrasyl went for a few barrel rolls while him and Vax are inside of Umbrasyl's stomach. If you remember, in episode 11, Vax and Scanlan decided to give Umbrasyl a prostate exam, and that's how they got inside of him. So they are currently bouncing around inside of his stomach, but of course Vax wakes him up by ripping his chest hairs out. That's just painful, add one hairy guy to another. At the same token, we see Grog holding on for dear life, as the rest of the crew is just dumbfounded that they decided to try to go through his ass in order to do some damage, but this is Scanlan we're talking about. So the rest of them do take to the sky with Vex riding her new broom, and with Keyleth polymorphing into a giant hawk, I'm assuming, hawk or eagle, and taking off with Pike and with Percy in order to try to catch up to Umbrasyl, who is looking at for the nearby mountain, which apparently is where he's been sort of holed up and keeping the tribute for Thordak at this location as well. Through the fray, Grog is able to do a little bit of damage to Umbrasyl, but ends up getting kicked off, and it starts falling to Exandria when he activates the Titanstone Knuckles to break his fall, but it still doesn't keep him completely unscathed, because he does end up breaking his leg that Pike has to begin to heal, but can't heal it all the way. At the same token, things are getting very acidy inside of Umbrasyl's stomach. Vax and Scanlan try to cut their way out through the hole that the sword Kaylee had left made through Umbrasyl when he took off. They end up trying to make the hole a little bit bigger, but in order to escape the acid, Scanlan just decides to fist his way through Umbrasyl, just forgetting that they're hundreds of miles in the air, and end up beginning to fall once they escape Umbrasyl. At this moment, they're free falling. Scanlan's kind of not fully knocked out. Vax tries to catch him, and at the same token, he asks the matron for help, which is something that Keyleth suggested to him way back when. And what ends up happening is that she abides, and I believe the vestige now entered the exalted state, where it allows him to form wings and fly. So he picks up Scanlan and is able to angelically fly down to meet up with the rest of the party as they are in the process of trying to help Grog recover. Everyone's hurt, everyone's beat up, but they also know that Umbrasyl is in a similar position with some of the damage that they were able to do. They decide that since Umbrasyl is also taking a lot of damage, they might as well continue the fight and try to end it as best as possible. And we start seeing Scanlan's a little bit concerned about doing that because his flight mechanic, basically, he's not really a fight or flight, it's more of a flight, starts to kick in and he just doesn't feel like they can do it. They're beat up, they're too hurt, Grog is hurt, and they're going to continue to press on. But with some encouragement from a slightly more determined Vax'ildan, they make their way to the mountain that Umbrasyl is in, hoping that Umbrasyl is still hurt. Unfortunately, we see that Umbrasyl is able to heal himself to a certain extent, and is ready for Vox Machina to make their charge. And while everyone else stays outside, Vax decides to take point and go on a reconnaissance mission just to check out the area. And since he is now the fastest one of them, thanks to his new vestige, he makes his way through the lair and he starts seeing, the bones of defeated warriors and stuff like that Umbrasyl clearly has killed. And he also finds, and this is the sad part, he finds a decapitated head of Kamal Giori on spikes. I'm guessing after Vox Machina made their escape, Umbrasyl decided to claim Kamal Giori's head as his prize. It's kind of a sad fact, but Umbrasyl surprises Vax with his invisibility and starts to go one-on-one with him, beating him up and putting him at a disadvantage. Once the rest of Vox Machina makes their way into the cave, minus Grog and Pike, and with a little bit of help from Scanlan, they're able to help try to level the playing field a little bit, but it doesn't help out much. Before they actually go rushing in, Scanlan does confide in Pike about his situation with Kaylee and revealing that that's his daughter and how he doesn't want to let her down, and especially with her just feeling like Scanlan never does what's right. He always runs away from his problems, etc., etc. And Pike just gives them the simplest of answers. It's like, if you want to be a better father and be a better example to your daughter, then just do it. Stop running and accept fate and meet it head on. And this kind of comes back to, once they get their butts handed to them a little bit, they're able to save Vax and find a way to narrowly escape Umbrasyl at first into another section of this cavernous cave. But Umbrasyl, still in possession of Mythcarver, is able to track them thanks to the vestiges that they have on, and launches another surprise attack that puts everyone at a disadvantage. But everyone is putting up a fight, especially after Vax told them that,
If the matron has shown me anything, it's that fate is real. Keyleth's people, Grog's herd, our father. You think that was all chance? We're supposed to be here. You are supposed to be here.
She doesn't control my destiny.
No, Scanlan, you do. And you can run from it, or you can rise to meet it.
everyone charges in the battle, all hurt, including Grog and Pike, who show up to help. Grog has a broken, somewhat bandaged leg that is going to give out any minute, but he still goes toe-to-toe with Umbrasyl. You see Keyleth wild shape into that elemental that she's been using. Everyone's putting up a fight except for Scanlan, who is still very much hiding to a certain extent. And while everyone's getting beat down, he starts to consider to run away, which is kind of a dick move when you really think about it, leaving his friends basically to die. But the whole time he keeps hearing Kaylee's words in his head, hearing it, and he finally nuts up and does something about it. So while everyone else is down, and both the Fentress Bow and the Titan Stone Knuckles were taken by Umbrasyl, he claims that he's won because he now is in possession of 3 vestiges. And Scanlan
This one's mine.
reclaimed Mythcarver and goes and immediately stabs Umbrasyl directly in the eye. Ends up slicing Umbrasyl's face clean off and killing him. But Umbrasyl does land on top of him, so it is believed that Scanlan has perished, and Pike is unable to have enough juice to heal Scanlan, thinking that her potential future partner has passed away. She is very mournful and gives him a big old kiss, admitting to her feelings to him and everything like that, with Scanlan immediately sort of perking up and basically saying, like, I'm still alive, yay. I'm glad he didn't die. And it kind of sucks he waited until the 11th hour to do something. But when it came down to it, he nutted up.
Phrasing?
And he actually took down Umbrasyl kind of on his own. At least he'll say it's on his own. But they're able to leave, and there's a cool little moment where I guess Scanlan, he doesn't believe in the whole fate thing or the whole matron prophecy and all this other BS. But he doesn't believe in Vax, and that's enough for him. So it's a really cool little bonding moment with those two. And they decide to head back to Whitestone in order to give the good news that at least one member of the Chroma Conclave has been defeated, and to instill some sort of hope in the world, especially with how the dragons have just been laying waste to everybody. So they get back, they're healed up. A little montage, we get to see some of the other people that we've encountered in Season 2. We get to see a shot of Wilhan. We get to see Zanror and the Herd basically paying tribute to their fallen allies and friends. And we see a few other people, and we get to see Vox Machina along with their allies around the table in Whitestone celebrating to a certain extent. But then things start to kind of go a little bit wrong when everyone starts to pass out, and Keeper Yenin, or who we used to think was Keeper Yenin, reveals to be Raishan transformed. So we don't know specifically what happened to Keeper Yenin, but this is Raishan. And Raishan isn't there to lay waste to Vox Machina or to start a fight. She is there because she wants to team up, because she is tired of Thordak and wants to take Thordak down. So she has switched sides due to fear of whatever Thordak is planning. And we cut back to the ruins of Amon, where Thordak and Vorgal have reconvened, and Vorgal explains to Thordak that Umbrasyl has fallen and is questioning what else they need to do, but Thordak has a plan, and we see below in the ruins of where the cloud top used to be a whole bunch of eggs they're starting to crack and starting to open up. So that's basically how the season wraps up. So we are one dragon down. We have another dragon that's decided to team up with Vox Machina. And we have two other dragons. One of them has given birth to a lot of other dragons. Quick thoughts on the episode. Fantastic episode. I love the fight. I'm glad Scanlan kind of nutted up at the end.
Phrasing. Shut up!
Even though he's got a lot of work and a lot of stuff to prove to Kaylee that he can actually own up to being a good dad, it's a good start if you take down a giant dragon. Keyleth is more powerful than she's been, and she's definitely going to put more focus into completing her Aramente. We see that Vax fully embraced the Raven Queen and is actually more trusting of her and what goals she has for him. We see that, Vex and Vax are able to now stand on their own a little bit. We saw the first glimpses of Vex standing up to her dad, and how that relationship is going to move forward will be interesting to see. Grog now knows his strength comes from his friends. They all work together, and that's what makes him stronger. And he was able to confront his past, which is a really huge, important thing. And overall, the season has just been amped up like crazy compared to last season. I mean, you went from undead and a dark sorceress to giant ancient dragons, and now you have an uneasy alliance with one of said dragons in order to take down the other two. Most likely, then, that means that little girl that we saw who was looking at Grog very menacingly in episode 2 was actually Raishan. Is Keeper Yenin still alive? I hope she is. It would suck if she's gone. The acting in the season was stellar, especially with a lot of the guest voice actors that they got for it. Lance Hedrick, I think, is the voice of Thordak. He just has such a menacing voice, and he just plays that role to perfection. I'm so glad Cree Summers is Raishan, and we're going to see a lot more of her in season 3, I'm assuming. We know Ripley's still around, because after Umbrasyl was killed, she sleeked out the back as she always does. So it'll be interesting to see where she pops up next. It'll be interesting to see if the relationship between Scanlan and Kaylee can get any better. If Scanlan can really prove to her that he can be a good father and a good role model. It'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. Yeah, I mean, overall, I'm just really happy with how the season went. It's been fun reviewing it. It's been fun talking about it. I'm glad I did them as individual episodes. It's been a lot more work for me, but I'm glad I did it that way. So I hope you enjoyed these episodes. I hope you enjoyed these reviews. And I really appreciate you checking them out and enjoying them along with me. Thank you for coming along with me for these reviews. And I hope you stick around for anything else that I post on the channel. So that's going to do it for my episode 12 review of The Legend of Vox Machina, the Hope Devourer. Let me know what you thought of the episode in the comments down below. Thank you for joining me for this and all my videos. I really do appreciate it. If this was your first one, appreciate you. I do recommend going back and check out the other ones as well, but if you do like all of that stuff and would consider subscribing to the channel, it would mean a lot. It would help me out. You can follow me on a lot of different social media platforms that are listed at the end of this video. I do have a ton of videos on this channel right now. You're more than welcome to check out. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And yeah, until next time, be kind to one another. Enjoy yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you did like this video, why not give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends? You can subscribe to the channel by clicking on my gorgeous little face right over there. You can follow me on all the various social media platforms right below. And last but certainly not least, if you've got a few extra minutes, why not check out one of the lovely videos floating right over here. Later.